Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Ass. I am Adam,
And I'm Steve.
and this is our show, and we are here to talk about movie news and the movies that came out in July. Steve, get us started. What's the first news thing you would like to talk about?
Um, let's talk about some of those Marvel trailers that came out at ComicCon.
Which one stood out to you the most?
Honestly, the one I'm the most excited about, that I assume probably most people are excited about, is the new Black Panther. Is it called Wakanda Forever?
Yes.
Yeah, that trailer, obviously, it got me pretty emotional. They used Chadwick's face and everything and talked about basically the little bit of the story they have about them basically losing T'Challa and basically what they're going to do now that they don't have their king. And I think it's
Mhm.
going to be a pretty interesting story. I mean, they kind of had to do that with the first Black Panther with his father dying, but this one's going to be even more interesting just because honestly, we don't have the plans. We don't know what's going to happen. There's no person to take on after Chadwick except for like his sister, his mom, kind of just like those are the kind of people that are left standing at this moment. So yeah, the music in the trailer, awesome. Just really like I'm not big on Marvel trailers lately, but that one really got me.
Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, or Avatar: Way of Water?
Oh, Wakanda Forever, obviously. Like you know
Wow.
me, I'm not a big fan of Avatar. I did
hmm
not like the first movie. I watched it on Disney Plus recently. I watched the whole thing.
Are
Still don't like it. The
you
trailers
going to see
are
it in
very,
theaters when it comes out in September?
yeah, I got to review it for sure, but I'm not honestly, every time the trailer comes on, I let out like a big sigh in the theater every time. I'm like, I just want this trailer to just be done showing. I'm over it. The trailers
Mhm.
are very similar though, and I get why people are comparing them. And I think Wakanda Forever looks better, like effects wise too. But I know James Cameron loves all his special effects and doing all his underwater stuff. So that stuff I'm interested in with that movie, but still Wakanda Forever, absolutely.
I'm excited for Wakanda Forever for a couple reasons. Number one, Lupita Nyong'o. I think she should be a movie star, bona fide. I love her. She's fantastic. Um, I would also have to say that Ryan Coogler has not made a bad movie. I mean, I haven't seen Creed 2, but I trust Ryan Coogler.
I personally think that Creed 2 is better than Creed 1.
Mm-hmm.
Creed 2 is honestly like one of my favorite, like it come out in 2018. I think it was one of my favorite movies of that year for sure. Like it's a 5-star movie for me personally, and I love to watch it all the time. I haven't rewatched it in a long time, but it's pretty badass. I highly recommend it.
No, I gotta finish it, especially since I own the first Creed movie, so I should probably own the second one as well. I've only seen the first Rocky either, so. But do you ever see Fruitvale Station?
I have not. I'm kind of disappointed that that's one of the Ryan Coogler movies that I haven't seen, but I know it's great. I've heard nothing but fantastic things about it.
Yeah, very good. I definitely would recommend checking it out. I trust him. I trust Marvel to make a competent movie because even their worst stuff as of late, which most of their worst stuff has been as of late, at the bare minimum, it's competent. Like I argued with you pretty hard about Thor: Love and Thunder. I still gave it a 4. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I expect this to be. I think this is normal, despite their flaws, like Chadwick not being there, and then the COVID stuff pushing it back. All this, and Daniel Kaluuya is not in it. I still expect this to be the best MCU movie of the year.
honestly, I'm probably right there with you. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be really awesome. I think it has, with all that stuff going against it, I think it just has so much going for it because people adore the first one, even though it won't have Chadwick again with this one. But
Mm-hmm.
I think enough of the characters will still be there and enough of the heart. And like you said, Ryan Coogler's not going to make a bad movie, I don't think. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be hard to kind of strike out with this one. So yeah,
At the end of the after seeing the trailer, would are you happy the direction they're going, or do you wish they would have recast Chadwick?
oh no, I'm very happy with the direction they're going. Recasting Chadwick, like the only way that I would have liked it and the way they couldn't do it is if they somehow brought back Michael B. Jordan. That's
I
the
said
only thing.
yes, yes.
That's the only person that can fit that caliber, at least at the moment that I can
Mm-hmm.
think of.
I wish they would have recast because every single superhero movie is about how the symbol is more important than the man, and I think that that character is so important to so many children. But if maybe there's a female Black Panther, that's also something, a demographic we have not really been able to hit. The only Black female superhero is Catwoman, Halle Berry.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty much that, and the other character she played being what like Storm or whatever in X-Men back in like the 2000s.
Yeah, but
It's
when it
pretty
comes
much
to like
Halle Berry.
solo movie stuff, like if we still give Captain Marvel
Well,
credit,
We have to give, if we're gonna give female superhero movies their credit, we have to give credit to Elektra, even though it's not good either. But it did happen. It did
Oh,
happen, just like Catwoman.
minority-led female superhero movie, Black Widow.
Yes.
That was a
And
throwback
well,
joke. Because remember when she was like is gonna play a tree or something? It was the Ghost in the Shell controversy she had.
oh yeah. Well, that too, but the good version of any of those is we still have Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey and the Emancipation of Harley Quinn is the full title or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So
Of
we still
one
have
Harley Quinn.
of one Harley Quinn. Yeah, I don't think they even had that. Like I went and saw it like the second week it came out, and I think they already cut off the rest of that
Harley
title
Quinn.
just for just like Harley Quinn. No Birds of Prey, no anything. Basically, just like we're
Mm-hmm.
selling it on Harley Quinn, we're selling it on Margot Robbie. But
Mm-hmm.
regardless, yeah, still I think that's probably, if I were to guess the plot of this movie, I feel like the route is that Shiri or whatever, his sister, I feel like is going to be the person to step into the Black Panther mold. It just seems like that's kind of what they were building towards, even though I don't think they were thinking of recasting Chadwick anytime soon, even if you
She's the
were
smartest
to
person in the MCU, right?
logistically. And I mean, yeah, she's like a doctor and she's the one that basically saved everybody the first time. So it would make sense for that character to take over that mold, even though I think it's going to be interesting because she was kind of like they kind of pointed out in there, she was still kind of childish in Black Panther. So she's going to have to grow up quick if she's going to take over everything like Chadwick was doing. So
Mm-hmm.
either way, very interested in the story.
Mm-hmm. The Marvel news that I took the most out of from the onslaught of Marvel news that we got was there's going to be Avengers Secret War and then Avengers. There's another one. It's going to come out later that year. The first one's going to be directed by, the Kang Dynasty, I think is the first one. And then I think it's Secret Wars.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And the first one's going to be directed by the director of Shang-Chi. How do you feel about that? He directed Short Term 12.
Oh, yes. And that movie is fantastic, by the way.
I still need to see it.
Oh, yeah, you really, I haven't seen the short film it's based on, but Lakeith Stanfield, I think, was in the short as well. But yeah, great movie. Is Daniel Destin Creighton or something like that? I want to say his
Something
name.
like that. That was very close, I think.
I think he's honestly a fantastic director. So I think it's going to be really cool. And I know a lot of people are kind of like iffy on Shang-Chi, but me personally, I thought all the action stuff was really cool. And I think that's where they're going to go deep into a lot of these different secret wars and different things like that. They're going to bring in a lot of characters that, if you're a comic book fan, I think you're going to know a lot of these people, but a lot of the just pure MCU movie people are probably, I think they're going to be kind of iffy on some of this stuff, but I like what this guy's doing. I think he's going to make some pretty cool action movies. The comedy is still kind of cringy in his movie with Aquafina.
Aquafina.
I think
Awkward Fina, more like it.
I think she's funny, but I don't think she was that funny in this movie. So I don't
She
know if
just
it
had
was
so
his.
much personality. It like took away from Simu from me because I think Simu has a lot of personality, but he's so vanilla to me. Sitting next to Aquafina, anyone is.
That's true. She's just, yeah, she's above everybody, especially when she has. And I think she kind of had a little bit of the freedom to kind of ad lib a little bit here and there, which is cool. But yeah, I feel like it might have taken away from Simo just a little bit. But regardless, I think it's going to be cool. The Secret Wars stuff, I've read some of the Secret Wars comics, like way, probably like the second run or whatever, like back in like the 2010s era.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool stories. So if they go in any of those directions with any of those characters, sign me up. I'm here for it.
Is it a Doctor Doom thing?
I believe so. Doctor Doom is kind of the main villain over all the Secret Wars stuff, which I don't know who they're going to cast as Doctor Doom in this new world, but I loved the original guy. I cannot remember what his name was, but in the Fox movies, I thought that guy was awesome.
Ian McMahon, I think it is. Something like that.
Something,
I think that
something
was
like
right.
that.
Toby Kebbell in Fan Four Stick, I think.
Yes, that one I know. I think is that one is for sure correct. The other guy I only know because I remember seeing the commercials for Nip Tuck, the FX show, like way back in like the early 2000s, and he was the star of that show.
Julian McMahon. Julian McMahon. I was so close.
Yeah, you were very close. I think you were going
Dang.
Ian McShane a little bit in there.
But yeah, no, I thought he was fine. And I think that Toby Kebbell is terrible. I just hope they go in like a Thanos kind of direction where they realize that the thing that makes Infinity War and Endgame so badass is just not that it's just another Avengers movie, because like Age of Ultron's great. It is a good villain with personality, but like the villain's a little bit generic towards the end.
Well,
And that's
yeah.
like the lesser of the Avengers movie. The reason why those two are so great at the end is because of Thanos.
Yeah, if they do Doctor Doom the way he's done in the comics, Doctor Doom is one of the most menacing villains in Marvel Comics, period. Like Doctor Doom is kind of involved in everything, and that's gonna be the main thing. If they get someone cast that's like I don't even know who you could even cast, honestly. Like it's got like a Daniel Craig, maybe, like someone that's very good at acting, can do the because he's like a doctor and he has
Daniel
the
Craig would be good
personality. That's what in my head, that's exactly what I was picturing when I was picturing the other guy.
because he's usually a
But
hero, and I would like to see him do a turn as a villain. I think he's done a villain at some point, but no, I
yeah,
like that. I actually like that. I'll let you know by the end of the video if I have a better one. But no, I'm very excited. Um, I think they got all their stuff planned out. I mean, he said within the next 3 months we were going to know where all this is leading, and I'm happy about that. I'm happy Joe Russo and Anthony Russo are not doing anything else. Um,
I have
I
not watched any of their projects since like Endgame. Like outside of the MCU, they did like the Cherry movie or whatever with
I
Tom
missed that.
Holland. I haven't like I think I watched, did they do the Extract movie? I think I watched that one, the one with Chris Hemsworth on Netflix,
I think
like
they
the
might
one
produce
years
that one. They
ago.
also produced 21 Bridges, which I liked a lot with Chadwick Boseman.
That one I did like. I saw that one in theaters, I think, with Chad actually way back then.
And they have Everything Ever All at Once is produced by them as well.
Very cool. I did not know that.
Yeah. Um, One other thing I wanted to talk about from the MCU slate is I thought that there was something missing. There's no Eternals 2 on that slate.
Oh, did not even really notice that.
I know, right? And here, I usually have a good question for you every week. And right now, off the top of your head, you're a certified movie guy. I'm trying to prove a point here about Eternals, less about you and more about Eternals. How many Eternals can you name? Who's your
Like
favorite?
like the characters?
Yeah, like individual characters' names. Like,
Yeah, I'll
not
take
one?
the red-haired girl. Well,
The
it's
redhead girl.
she's like, I don't remember her name at all, honestly, but Icarus is one because I mean it's
There you go.
yeah,
That's
just
one.
because of mythology, honestly.
That's fine, though. That's at least something you remembered it,
But yeah,
right?
other than that, like I know like he's in it. Kumail Nanjiani's in it. I don't remember his character's name. I remember people that are in
Kingo
it.
with the.
I mean, I'd like to rewatch it. I haven't watched it since the theater, and I didn't dislike it by any means. I just think like it wasn't that memorable, or
Mhm.
it didn't feel that impactful to the MCU whatsoever. And to the point where like Thor did that, but it was entertaining to me. This one, I can remember Thor. This one, I don't really remember almost anything that happened other than I think Icarus
Mhm.
died at the end. Spoilers, I guess, for
He flew
Eternals.
too close to the sun, if you know what I mean.
Exactly. The like and the effects in that movie, I think were cool. The digital stuff in that movie, because it was so external from the real world, like literally outside of the world. I
Mhm.
think the over the top effects and magical stuff kind of worked for me more than it did for almost a lot of the MCU stuff that's come before it. I think it just that kind of stuff. I think the effects wise, like the gods like holding up the planets, I thought that stuff looked really cool in that movie. But that's the only thing I can remember at the moment.
I was higher on it than your average Joe. I did wait on it a little bit, so I heard some early reactions before going. So I had different expectations,
All the
but
people that were
I
mad
thought
about the
it was
kiss.
yeah. I thought it was distinct in its tone. Like it still got that Marvel cheesy Marvel humor, but I thought it was epic in scale. I do think that it was supposed to impact the MCU heavily. There's a Celestial hanging out of the Earth, and then there's a giant guy who shows up, and I'm still waiting for someone anywhere to be like, "So what was up with that? Like God showed up."
I think that's the biggest downfall is that none of the other movies are commenting on what happened in that movie, even though it seemed like it happened everywhere.
Mhm.
So that's the major downfall of it, in my opinion. But
Well, Patton Oswalt came out and said that they are working. Chloe Zhao is working on a sequel. I just thought it was funny that it's like, oh, how many phases do I have to go before I see a sequel? Usually, the very next phase, you get a sequel to your biggest movies. And I just don't see how they're going to fit this in anywhere besides Kit Harington being in Blade.
Well, maybe they're going to take a lot of time with Chloe, get the script out perfectly, because the one thing I can say about Chloe Zhao especially, and with Nomadland, her like cinematography and the way she uses her camera, some prime work. Just
Mhm.
her wide cinematography and her wide landscapes, even in Eternals and in Nomadland. She does a great job at that kind of stuff. But even in Nomadland too, I don't think she really had that many characters to deal with in Nomadland. Pretty much just Frances McDormand and a couple other people that were camping nearby. It
Mhm.
seemed like this was her first movie that she had so much going on at once. So maybe they'll give her some more time to work at it. And honestly, I think it'll be way better than the first one. Like a lot of movies, sometimes their sequels aren't as good. I think it's going to be the complete opposite, where it's going to blow the first one out of the water. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I mean, we
Mhm.
get Harry Styles, so it's going to be great
Oh,
regardless.
I'm into that. I'm
I'm
there.
like, just off topic, just for a second. I really never listened to One Direction, but I started listening to Harry Styles' new music. That's some good shit. I just wanted to say that real quick.
Oh, I grew up with One Direction, and I like Harry Styles
I
music
was
as
too
well.
old, I think.
Do you have anything else from the MCU slate, or are you ready to move on to? I have another good
No, I
question
just
for
want
you.
Blade already.
Oh,
That's all I
I'm
want to
excited
say.
for Mahershala, but like even more, I want to see Delroy Lindo.
Remind me
He's
who
the
that
guy.
is.
He was in the Spike Lee Netflix movie, The Five Bloods. He should have gotten nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
Okay, I know who he is. I still haven't watched The Five Bloods. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Like I love Spike Lee, but I forgot that movie existed until you literally just reminded me. So I'm gonna go watch that tomorrow, maybe.
Well, you're
But
not a Knicks
yeah,
fan, so it's fine.
that's true.
but
I have Spike Lee's signature in my drawer at home, though.
oh, that's hot. That's
I have it
hot.
on a copy of my a Criterion copy of Do the Right Thing.
That's nice. That's really
I
nice.
bought it from his website, like directly from him for like I think it was like $40 or something like that.
Not bad at all.
I've literally, it's in my dresser, like in the package it came in, like wrapped up. I've kept it in there ever since.
I love that for you. But yeah, moving off of Marvel a little bit, I wanted to ask, what do you think is going to happen to Ezra Miller next? Do you think what crazy crime will you think he will commit next?
Well, I tweeted out the other day and it made me laugh. I don't think anybody else liked the tweet, but I was like, the odds of Ezra Miller coming to your city and causing havoc are never zero anymore. He's literally showing
Honestly,
up everywhere and it's insane. What did he show up in like Wyoming or somewhere? No, I think it was somewhere on like the East Coast or something recently, but
Mhm.
literally just everywhere. And I think he tried to rob a house or something and he tried, yeah, it was armed robbery and he was stealing alcohol. You are a millionaire actor. What the hell? Like this dude's literally, I think, going crazy, and it's kind of sad to watch, but at the same time, it's very interesting because there's going to be a movie made about this guy at this point, just because how crazy the story is getting, and it doesn't feel real. But yeah, I don't know. It's not. I think it might get bad before it gets better, and I just really hope he doesn't hurt anybody else.
Yeah, well, he's definitely on the run, but another something else is on the run that we will probably never see again is Batwoman. There's a show Batgirl, and they were going to make a movie Batwoman, and most of it was shot. Michael Keaton was in it, and they're still doing the score. They're still working on it because they already paid for it, and they're not going to release it because they don't think it's strategically smart or financially beneficial enough for them. I think this is terrible.
Yeah, it's not good. It's a bad standard to set for HBO Max in general, and honestly, just Warner Brothers in general.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Just
Scoob too.
exactly, just everything like that. You're literally making these promises to creators that your project will be released, and they made a deal with these people, a lot of them, that okay, I'm not getting the theatrical release, but I'm gonna get HBO Max, blah blah blah, fine. And then all of a sudden, right when they're finishing up practically putting their finishing touches on shit, basically in their editing process, figuring stuff out after they spent probably over a year at least,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's writing, shooting, pre-pro, everything, just for your shit to get scrapped would be heartbreaking for anyone. And
Mm-hmm.
especially with something this big, I honestly, you can quote me right now, and I think it's going to happen just like Zack Snyder's Justice League thing, because the internet is in such an uproar at the moment. I think you're going to get at least that one released because it's already so far done. I don't think it's probably going to be within the next few months, maybe in the next year or so, because they're going to make some type of statement because they're in such hot water at the moment, especially with the Discovery Plus thing they just did with the HBO.
Mhm.
They're merging it all together and just axing a bunch of other projects while they're doing it of all their basically HBO original programming to kind of maximize the Discovery.
Mhm.
It's a lot of bad moves. So yeah, I think Warner Brothers is honestly in the hottest of water at the moment.
And this is why Universal is my favorite of the big studios, because when Christopher Nolan got screwed by Warner Brothers, where did he go? Universal Studios, which has so many great directors under their belt. Now they have Chris Nolan. They've obviously got M. Night Shyamalan, and one of the hottest horror directors of our time. Seamless transition right into Nope. They have Jordan Peele. What were your thoughts on the Jordan Peele and sci-fi movie, horror movie, thriller, comedy? Nope.
Well, the best thing about this movie is that is literally all of those things and it doesn't fit into one box. And I think
Mhm.
that's honestly the biggest benefit to it. If you're a fan of Jordan Peele's, I honestly don't think you're going to go into this expecting what you get. And that's the best thing about it. You get some hints of Jordan Peele with the comedy, with Kiki Palmer kind of being over the top and funny, and you kind of get a lot of Jordan Peele's funny personality and some of his characters in her. But you also get so much seriousness and boldness through Daniel Kaluuya's character. But more than anything, the aliens and the way he does his effects in this movie are so cool. The way he kind of hides it from you for so long, like you can compare it to Jaws and stuff, of just how you kind of just draw up the horror with just little hints here and there. And he just builds the tension up while still giving you the little breaks of comedy in there. And it just made for such a fun time. I went and saw an IMAX, and with the bigger budget that he had, obviously, from the first two movies, he shot this with IMAX cameras and it looks phenomenal. I
Mhm.
will say right now, it was a 5 out of 5 for me. If you haven't already, see it on IMAX screens or at least the biggest screen you can. Don't wait for it to come on home release because it is the movie's about spectacle and it is a spectacle itself and it needs to be seen on the biggest screen possible.
Mhm. I think that Jordan Peele is one of the few event directors. Like people are like, "Oh, it's Jordan Peele. I'll go see it." You know, like those
Hmm.
classic Hitchcock posters where he's the biggest thing on the poster. That's honestly how I feel about Jordan Peele. Same way I feel about Christopher Nolan. Same way I feel about maybe Spielberg these
Well,
days.
that's the cool thing is that honestly, Spielberg isn't, he still has the name out there. I think it's kind of lingering off, unfortunately, even though I
Mm-hmm.
think West Side Story was one of the best movies to come out of last year, but
Mm-hmm.
I digress. I think we're getting that new crop of the Spielbergs, and Jordan Peele is by far the head of that field. There's an Ari Aster in there, of course. There's people like I can't think of his the other horror guy. Robert Eggers is in there probably with all of his success he's been having. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of the horror people especially are kind of the movies that are talked about almost as blockbusters. I mean, even David Lowery sometimes pops in there every now and then with like The Green Knight and Pete's Dragon and
Old Man and the
Ghost
Gun.
Ghost Story, Old Man and the Gun, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool stuff in there. So yeah, I think Jordan Peele is, like you said, the next event director. And yeah, like it's the spectacle of it in general. The movie, we want to get into spoilers just a little bit.
I think it's been out for long enough. Go ahead.
I think so. So the
Spoilers for no.
well, and it's funny. Did you ever see the stuff with Logan Paul on Twitter about his whole little rant on Nope?
Oh yeah, very astute observation about the movie.
Well, the funniest part about it too is that he didn't understand all the stuff about like these characters, especially the characters of like the guy on the bike and the film director guy or the cinematographer of wanting to get the best shot and being obsessed and wanting to get the picture of the big spectacle, the big alien because no one's ever done it and they want to be the person to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because that is exactly what Logan Paul was, this whole Suicide Forest shit. He
Mm-hmm.
was literally that person. He didn't get the movie that's literally commenting on his life. I just
Mm-hmm.
thought that was hilarious. But yeah, this movie is about spectacle. It's huge. The aliens, I liked, okay, so they kind of teased it because it honestly freaked me out at first with the kids, the carnival owner guys, kids coming
Oh,
into the
they had me
barn.
by the balls.
I was like, oh shit, they brought in the aliens like 45 minutes into the movie. What the fuck?
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden it was just the kids. I was like, Jordan Peele, you asshole. Like that was one of my favorite parts just because they got you so good. And also my favorite aspect is the cinematography, like I already said.
Mhm. I agree with. I felt fresh as an alien movie because you brought up the comparisons to Jaws. I feel like the sister movie for this is Signs. We have a young upcoming director. He makes his third movie, a big alien spectacle movie, but it's focused on one little family dealing with this alien invasion. I think Kiki Palmer stole the show, despite Daniel Kaluuya still being good. But this really felt like her breakout to me. I really hope she goes forward with her career. Obviously, she had a good year. She was in that other movie, Lightyear, which was not very much of a hit, but I hope she does
Still got to
more.
see it.
But when it comes to other alien movies, the thing I appreciate about this is, like I said, he had us by the balls when he showed the kids as the aliens because I'm expecting it to be a ship. I'm expecting little aliens to be inside it doing stuff. But the fact that the ship is the monster, it is the alien, that was such a fresh idea to me. And I appreciated it so much.
Yes, exactly. Like he built up all that hype and literally never had to really show, he never really showed the ship for the most part. He
Mm-hmm.
showed it a little bit, it like popped in here and there, but it was kind of like almost like a transparent type, like
Mm-hmm.
invisible ship. So even that kind of stuff, like that just shows between the music was fantastic, and the way he edited it together, it just makes to show that like Spielberg with Jaws and like even Close Encounters, you can compare it to that kind of stuff because you really don't see much in Close Encounters for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of that kind of stuff where he literally uses kind of Spielberg's template, but makes it his own. And like you said, with the characters, especially, even like comparing Daniel Kaluuya to the other Jordan Peele movie being Get Out, the character of Chris is nothing like the character from Nope. Like that character is he's dealing, like they both are dealing with past traumas, obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
it seems like what is the character's name in Nope? I cannot remember his name at the moment.
Wasn't it like, oh gosh, keep going, keep going.
But yeah,
I'll look it up.
any anyway, his character was much different with just the way they kind of handled himself. Like he's much more composed and quiet, and you can tell that he
OJ,
wants
OJ. I
OJ.
remember that there was
Exactly.
like they made a joke about it.
Yeah,
No, he's OJ. The jacket's orange. Yeah.
exactly. And OJ's, you can tell that he just wants to kind of keep his family's like legacy alive with the business and everything,
Mm-hmm.
while his sister is kind of the one that wants to be a star and wants to become famous, like literally takes over the show immediately when they're doing the safety meeting in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's little stuff like that with his characters that you can just, I don't know, you fall in love with them immediately and you get engrossed in the story. And even with the kid from the electronics store, I did not expect him to be in the movie as much as he was, but
Mm-hmm.
even that character, you really you get little things from each one that you want even more. I mean, even with, I can't remember the Jupiter owner with his stuff and everything with the monkey, all that stuff was insane.
Oh, Steve Yoon, yeah.
Yeah, and all this stuff, like people were kind of confused with the whole show being involved in the movie, but that again plays into not only the spectacle part of it, but just showing the little sci-fi stuff too. And I thought that was really interesting. Like a lot of people are really stuck on the shoe being like stuck up.
What's up with that shoe, man?
Honestly, I think it's more interesting that Jordan Peele's not like people keep asking it, and I hope Jordan Peele never answers it. It's because it's fun to be that way, but it's aliens of some sort, I assume. Like whatever was kind of made the monkey kind of crazy, I assume was whatever was making that shoe stand up. Or what I've seen a lot of people say, which I like to buy into as well, is that Stephen Yoon's character is just so obsessed with the memory of it that he kind of is almost making stuff up in his way, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And people have said that the way he like got that shoe and looks at it all the time, that it could even be that he has that memory of like that's how it looked in the room, even though that's just how he has it in the room.
Like a memento, that moment that
Yeah,
just
he sees
symbolizes that moment.
where the slipper is in his trophy case. He sees it like that because he sees it in the trophy case every day. Like people are like, it could be something like that too. Like I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what makes it interesting, is that it's so ambiguous and just weird. That's a very A24 thing to throw in there, even though it's not
Mhm.
A24.
Along the lines you were talking about, the little detail I appreciated is Kiki Palmer goes up and does the little speech at the beginning about the horses, and she says, "Great, great, great grandfather," and then OJ says, "Great," and she goes, "And there's another great." And then later
Mhm.
on in the movie, we watch Kiki Palmer watching old videos of her dad doing the same exact speech, and so that makes sense on why she would say the amount of greats that she does is because she was copying him, and that's how much she looked up to him. So that's why she needs to be reminded to say another great, because she's envisioning his speech.
I,
And I just felt like that gave me a lot of insight to the relationship that they had with their father, because that's kind of what the movie's about, with their
exactly.
relationship a little bit.
Exactly. And that's what's it's so cool because I actually didn't catch that the first time, but that shows how similar the characters are, yet they are so different with how they go about preserving their legacy of their family business. Because
Mm-hmm.
she wants to be the showstopper person who just wants to be the entertainer, where he wants to literally be the business guy who wants to make sure everything stays afloat and
Mm-hmm.
everything runs smoothly. So, yeah, that's really interesting to look at too. I can't wait. I've only watched it once, but I want to watch it again so bad before it leaves the theater.
Oh, it's a very dense movie. I think there's a lot of food for thought there. It's one I want to see again. I'm waiting till I see Get Out again. That's actually another thing I want to bring up with this movie. I rewatched Us, and God damn it, I think I'm going to say it. Us is my favorite Jordan Peele movie. I think Lupita Nyong'o's performance is what puts it over the top for me. I think that there's so much more food for thought and it's less obvious and overt stuff. I think Get Out's great, and it's Mount Rushmore horror movies, instant iconic, awards winning, great. But this is definitely, while Nope is a 5 out of 5 for me as well, it's definitely third in his film repertoire. Where would you rank it?
Honestly, same with you. They're all 5-star movies.
Mm-hmm.
And in my video that I made for Nope, I did the ranking thing actually, and
Mm-hmm.
Us is my one as well.
Mm-hmm.
For the exact same reasons, I
Yeah.
think Lupita Nyong'o should have won an Oscar or at least been nominated for that shit, just because both roles were fantastic and she knocked it out of the park. But even Get Out, especially with just its relevance and I think 4 Oscar nominations in total with him winning one, it
Mm-hmm.
just stands the test of time still as being a modern classic. So yeah, Nope is probably still in third place like your
Mm-hmm.
ranking, but it's not a bad movie in any way, shape, or form. Like I don't know, I don't want to say Logan Paul is a complete idiot, but I just don't understand any of the things he was pointing out in his article or his
Mm-hmm.
little Twitter thread. I thought it was pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm. Just to run down my final thoughts, I think it's equally as scary as it is funny. I think that this is a very dense movie. I think there's a lot here, and it'll just get better with time. I think it's a 5 out of 5. It's my second favorite movie of the summer behind Elvis. And original blockbusters don't grow on trees, people. So definitely make sure you check this out. Would you like to say your final thoughts?
Just echo everything you said, basically. Go out and see these original films when they come out so you don't have to bitch about seeing the 17th Marvel sequel or Fast and Furious 10, stuff like that. Because when these movies come out, you need to go see them in the theater because if you don't, home release
You're
it
voting with
counts
your
for
wallet.
sure. Exactly. Like the money used to come with the DVD sales, but even that doesn't exist anymore. It's
Mm-hmm.
digital, and a lot of people are stealing the digital regardless. So go see it in the theater if you really want original movies. And yeah, go see Nope because it's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. And the next movie that we are going to be talking about today is.
DC League of Super Pets. Now, I went and saw this last Sunday with my entire family, actually, my brothers, my sister in law, my niece, and my mom and dad. And it was a lovely time. It was a fine family film. Will I remember it even right now? No. I barely remember what happened. It was a great voice cast, that I will say. Dwayne Johnson, awesome. Kevin Hart, John Krasinski was in there. I mean, we even had Keanu Reeves. Literally, just almost anyone you could think of practically is a voice in this movie. Very cool, very fun. I will say it should have been shorter. The kids, other kids in the theater, including my niece, were definitely bored by the 90-minute mark. So
Yeah, it was
when
about
you don't,
100 minutes at least.
I think it was even, yeah, right here, it's
117, I think.
105.
Close.
105. So yeah, when you don't have music going on like your Disney stuff, unfortunately, I think you got to get it a little shorter because the kids were getting bored. Honestly, I was getting a little bit bored. So It's a fine movie. I don't think it's to run out to the theater by any means, but it's a fun family adventure.
No, I definitely agree with all that. As a DC fan, I appreciate it. And I remember when I saw The Secret Life of Pets, people I didn't like it very much, and people were like, "Oh, well, you don't have an animal like a pet, so you don't understand. You don't relate to it as much." I now have a dog that lives with me. So watching the movie now, I was able to connect a little bit more. Kevin Hart's backstory made me tear up a little bit. There's some good jokes, especially DC League jokes. Just like when Batman's like, "I miss my parents," like stuff like
Yeah.
that's funny. But yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, the DC jokes definitely, when you're a DC fan and you've watched all the movies and stuff, kind of kept up with it with pop culture. A lot of those jokes in there are fun and you get a lot of laughs from those. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's just fine. It's not the best animated movie of the year whatsoever. And yeah, like I said, I probably won't remember it when it comes to the end of the year, when it comes to finding out what my favorite animated movie is or what'll be nominated at the Oscars. It won't be thought about at all, but
Mhm.
it's fine.
So, do you think it'll get nominated for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars?
I don't think it even stands a chance to get a nomination, at least
Okay.
even at the moment. There's more coming out, I guarantee. But honestly, if I had my pick right now, I don't know if Marcel the Shell counts, but if
I
it
think it
kind of
does.
does, I would love that to get it in there just because it's so beautiful. I went and saw that the other day, and I just want to. I'll throw that in right now. Great movie.
Very cute little movie. I remember I walked out and I told the lady, because I have to give a quote. I was just like, "Wow, that would have been a great YouTube video." It's good
Yeah,
though. It's a good
it's
movie. It's
it's
cute.
cute. Exactly, it's cute.
hmm that being said, though, yeah, the most notable thing about this movie for me is, like I said, I recently have a dog that's living with me now, and they gave out at the press screening little capes for the kids, and on the back it says DC League of Super Pets. So we put it on the dog, and it's just a little bit too big, so he's like tripping over it, but it
That's
was
awesome.
so cute.
Yeah, I wish that would have been in the movie, honestly.
hmm But did you stay for the credits?
I did not. I had to go to the bathroom so bad. My family actually told me that the little credit scene afterward about
Black
the
Adam.
no, that I did not know about. So that's not even what they were telling me about. They were just telling me about the little thing that happened in the credits of like
Oh,
the
the
other
guinea
lady.
pig is with the
He,
lady now.
yeah. So
Yeah,
there's a
because you
Black
know the
Adam.
sequel that's coming out for this. There's
Yeah,
no sequels coming out for this movie. Did not do very well at all.
but there was a Black Adam thing.
Yeah, so it's kind of cute. Spoilers for DC League of Super Pets for all you I don't know, fans out there. So the end credits, Super Dog meets up with Black Adam's dog, and they start arguing, kind of like my dad could beat up your dad, kind of stuff. And it's just funny because both of them are played by The
Oh,
Rock.
I was about to say, is it Dwayne Johnson doing the other voice too?
Yes, it's
That's
very
fun.
cute. It's and then while he's putting on the gruff, like, "Oh, like we're dark and we kill anyone we want." He's like, "That's kind of sounds like a villain." He's like, "No, it's an anti-hero," and it's very cute and it gets me excited for Black Adam. And I've worked on Black Adam so much lately. I worked on DC League Super Pets so much, and now I'm working on Black Adam so much. So these movies are my
Well,
life.
the funny part, I don't want to go off too off topic, but I saw something just scrolling through like Twitter or Facebook or something, but apparently like test screenings I don't know if this is legitimate or not. I didn't see a source or anything. I just saw it scrolling, but people were saying that Black Adam got the same audience ratings basically from like test screenings as Batgirl or whatever. But and I was like, okay. I was like, I don't really believe you, but
Mhm.
especially but at the same time, I could see them throwing Batgirl aside if they're weighing two options. Are you gonna throw away the Dwayne Johnson movie or are you gonna throw away the Batgirl movie? Like
Mhm.
it's pretty much a no-brainer, but if that's true, then that honestly makes me kind of sad because I'm looking forward. Like I don't know much about Black Adam, but I just like Dwayne Johnson. I've literally been a
Mhm.
fan of The Rock forever because I was a wrestling fan before I was ever really like a big movie fan.
Mhm.
So yeah, anything The Rock's in, I'm gonna watch it, even shitty Jungle Cruise movies.
Yeah, I was not a fan of John Cruz. I'm very tired of The Rock these days. One thing I forgot to say about Batwoman was there's a little part of me, and I know this is not true, but there's a little part of me that thinks that this is a brilliant marketing plan. Because I tell you what, I didn't give a crap about the Batwoman movie until now, and I would
That's what I'm
do
saying.
very I would do a lot to see this movie. So brilliant of them, honestly, if they bring it back.
especially because I didn't know Michael Keaton was even in it until all the stuff came out that he was in it. And I was like, I want to see
Mhm.
this now. I haven't seen Michael Keaton as Batman in like ever, like since the 80s practically. Like he had little
Mhm.
cameos, I think, on the CW show. I think he popped up as like I think it might even been like a picture. I don't even think it was even him actually in it, but
Mhm.
it would have been nice to see, even though he'll probably show up in if we still get the Flash movie at this point. I don't know what's gonna happen with that. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Give me a rating for Super DC League Super Pets because I feel like that's pretty much it, right? It's cute. It's fine. 3 stars, three
Honestly,
out of five.
I gave it a three. Honestly, it's like a 2.5 to a three, honestly, but I'll give it a three just because it wasn't a bad. It just wasn't my
It's
thing.
good.
Yeah. Let's, what else we want to talk about?
Yeah. So I wanted to bring up Bullet Train because I worked on this movie excessively for the past year, and I was excited for it because it's an original blockbuster. It's based on the book called Maria. It's based on the book called Maria Beetle, which no one knew about, and it's an original, fun action comedy blockbuster with an actual movie star. And I said this in my video. I put this as my big thing in my video, and I'm sure I'm going to catch a lot of flack for it. But to me, this is the best action movie of the summer.
Honestly, so far, it's definitely been one of the most fun movies for sure when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to all that action. Like I said it in my review, David Leitch is one of the uncredited directors on the first John Wick movie, as well as he is the director of Deadpool 2. And you get both of those movies, honestly, those feelings in here. You get the crazy action, you get the silly comedy, and it's all just balanced so well to the point where you're just having the most fun time sitting in that movie theater seat and just it never really takes its foot off the gas, which is also just a great thing. You get going right away in that train, you get all the character introductions, and then you just go. There's no slowing down to kind of deviate and go too much into characters. We
Mm-hmm.
know enough about everybody to just continue on. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's done perfectly here. And yeah, very fun movie. Just over the top action. And I did not expect half of the stuff, as well as I'm not gonna spoil. I don't really want to spoil these things, especially, but there are a lot of cameos in here that I was
Mm-hmm.
not I was not expecting whatsoever. But they were
Mm-hmm.
so fun to see. But actually, the thing I want to talk about the most is Brad Pitt. I did not like Brad Pitt is a great actor. I've never really known him to be that funny. Like he had his funny moments in like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and stuff. But
Burn
other
after
than
reading.
Burn After Reading, especially, I forgot
Mm-hmm.
about that. But here, especially, he is hilarious. His dialogue and the way he delivers his lines. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think there was a line that he said that I wasn't almost dying at.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like a pitiful hitman,
Oh, his whole outlook on life and just being like, oh, because
a
you're
pat,
carrying hate in your heart, you know?
yeah, a pacifist hitman.
No, I think he's really honestly the funniest role I think Brad Pitt's ever been in. Maybe not Moneyball, but Inglorious Bastards cracked me. Arrivederci, uh,
Yeah,
hilarious. But no, I think he does a fantastic job. My standout from the rest of the cast would have to be Fastos and Kick-Ass. I mean, they get the most time to shine, but I'm a huge fan of Brian Tyree Henry and Aaron Taylor Johnson. I really like their bond. I also grew up with Thomas the Tank Engine being a very important part of my childhood. So did you see I rewatched the Thomas the Magic Railroad movie this week?
I think I did. Yeah, Brian Tyree Henry. The first time I saw that dude was on the Atlanta show with Donald Glover.
Mm-hmm.
He's had his career taken off. Like he was in the Child's Play remake and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
this is by far one of my favorite things he's done. He has an English accent the whole time, which was really fun to just
Mm-hmm.
hear him, especially with Aaron Taylor Johnson going back and forth. Their chemistry was fantastic as their little like childhood brotherhood. So
Mm-hmm.
much fun there. And yeah, the Thomas the Tank Engine stuff of literally everyone like talking about it and referring to it over and over again. That was one of the funniest things in it.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that honestly surprised me the most, you know me, I hate Slender Man. And because I hate Slender Man, I had a very big disdain for Joey King for the longest time.
Oh
And then
yeah,
I
she's in that.
and then I watched things like the Love Booth or Kissing Booth or whatever on Netflix. She was very cringe in those, but better. This is by far like one of the better roles that I've seen her in ever. Like honestly, her character made me laugh in Crazy Stupid Love, just being a little
Mhm.
kid in the background. Here, actually, she made me laugh, which I wasn't expecting. And although I kind of could tell who her character was from the beginning, even though it was kind of hidden who she was,
Mhm.
I think she did a good job. And I wasn't expecting that, so that was nice.
One thing you brought up earlier that resonated with me was obviously directed Deadpool 2, and there was a lot of Deadpool. That's what I've said to people is like if you vibe with Deadpool's like humor, action, comedy, brutal kind of stuff, because especially the counting kills scene felt like the
Mm-hmm.
counting bullets scene from the first movie. And obviously we cameos and stuff, and you got people like Zazie Beetz shows up. Brad Pitt was the invisible guy in Deadpool 2. I just like the comparisons to other movies. Like this movie feels like a great double feature with The Lost City because obviously Sandra Bullock's in the cast and Brad Pitt plays a minor role, and here it's flipped, and it kind of feels like they were done like
Yeah,
sister movies, right?
I haven't watched that movie yet, but just from seeing the trailers, I have to imagine the productions were nearby and they
Mm-hmm.
were kind of just like, hey, if you come work on my movie, we'll come. Because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if Brad Pitt has like a huge role in that movie. So it's
He
kind of,
doesn't, but he does very well with the short time that he has, and he's the best part.
well, and so yeah, and that's kind of how I feel about Sandra Bullock, honestly. Like she's only on the phone, but her dialogue on the phone, like going back and forth with Brad Pitt, I enjoyed it. I thought it was
Mm-hmm.
fun. I don't think she was by far the best part. Like the action by far is. I will never forget some of the action stuff that happens in that. Just from minor spoiler, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just want to say it right now.
Yeah.
Michael Shannon, the battle at the end and stuff with Michael Shannon and the guy's dad. I thought that was really fun, and just everything leading up to that, all those different battles between the different characters and all the different fighting styles. The editing, I'd like to see if it's the same editor as Deadpool 2 because the action, but as well as the counting the kills and everything,
Mm-hmm.
literally almost everything about the editing feels like Deadpool 2.
I'm not a big action guy, but it was creative. It was funny. And I, at the end of the movie, I know who all the characters are. I know what they want. I'm emotionally connected to them. So the action scenes impact me because I'm worried about whether or not they're going to make it. So for me, it was the best action movie I've seen in a long, long, like straight up action movie. Like it's more of an action comedy, but you know what I mean? I thought it went above and beyond. And just like how Nope, we got another original blockbuster that I hope people see, and it should dominate August, right?
Absolutely. I can't see anything really taking it down anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
And just the scale of it, like I said with Nope, and like you were just saying, it's a movie that you need to see on the big screen to enjoy all the different action and especially just the fight choreography in general. Like a lot of the different action movies you get lately, like especially in Marvel, a lot of that stuff between the editing, American editing compared to like if you watch like martial arts movies from like Japan and Korea and China and stuff like that, a lot of it you're not seeing it. Like the Bourne movies are the things that irritate me the most when it comes to action because they literally like it's like cut up so much and you're jumping all over the place that it's a style for sure. And I don't hate them. I just hate watching them, especially when it comes to the action because it could be so much better. It gives you a headache. But the
Mm-hmm.
exact opposite, like they do a little bit of it in Bullet Train where they cut a little bit too much in my opinion, but you can definitely see it has the influence from it taking place in Japan, and it kind of has the same Japanese style of fighting in it when it comes to the different characters fighting like samurai stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
the editing does work its way in there too. But
And the music is, it's American
oh,
songs but sung in
the sound.
Japanese.
I would buy the soundtrack. Yeah, all the different. It's mostly like classic rock songs that were Japanese covers,
Mm-hmm.
and they were yeah, it fit the style of the movie so well, and it's just a thrill ride that honestly I think older people, especially like the 30 to 50 range,
Mm-hmm.
I think is the main demographic for this movie. Get your
Wow.
dad. I honestly get your dad to go see this. Like my dad would be like a prime person to go see this kind of movie where it has
Mm-hmm.
the silly action mixed in with the silly comedy. It's kind of the kind of shit my dad especially would eat up.
See, I'm gonna big disagree with you there because I think we are the primary demographic because I could so see an older person above 30 being like, oh, it was too much, it was too crazy, too weird. And I wanted to throw up. It's too juvenile.
I forgot your family didn't like everything ever all at once though either.
Yeah,
And
well, I haven't seen much of people's opinions about the movie at work, but I know it's got like a 65 on Rotten Tomatoes, but it's got a higher audience score.
yeah, that's the like I've seen a lot of threes and three and a halves come out for Bullet Train so far, which
Mm-hmm.
I get, but I think the action alone, like, and I guess it's probably just taste. Like maybe they aren't action fans as much,
Mm-hmm.
but I think just filmmaking wise, I think it's just worthy of a four at least. But that's
Mm-hmm.
just my opinion, just from
Oh, so
I'm
you gave it
thinking
a
of it.
four?
I think I gave it a four and a half actually, but it's like a
Because I'm a
four.
5 out of 5. I love this. This is I would say my third or fourth favorite movie this summer. I'd probably put it behind Men. I'm one of the few people who loved Men.
I gave it a four.
But I gave it a 5. I also gave Lightyear a 5, Elvis, and I imagine you have Black Phone above this.
Yeah,
Yeah. And do you have this above Top Gun or do you have Top Gun?
Top Gun is above this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Would Nope
Sorry.
or Top Gun?
When it comes to watching it in the theater, honestly, oh, I think I would rather watch Top Gun again.
This is why original movies are dying. No, I'm kidding. All right, DC League of Super Pets or Top Gun. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, no, that's pretty much all I have to say on Bullet Train. Definitely go see it. Brad Pitt at the top of his game. Funny, great action, great cast. Definitely a movie with a lot of personality that we need to cap off the summer, and I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, I have the book downloaded actually. I downloaded it like a week before the movie came out because I was camping. Never
Mm-hmm.
got a chance to read it, but now I'm much more curious to read it, and I might even start it tonight actually. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, loved the movie. Go check it out as soon as you can. But now I want to jump into something that I actually watched recently that was streaming. It came out a while ago,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a 5 out of 5 for me. And you want to know what it is?
What?
Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Really?
I loved that movie. I
Okay,
thought
I'm surprised. I'm
I
surprised.
thought it was so funny, all the different references, and I think it's because the Lonely Island guys, especially like I think
Mm-hmm.
Akiva is the one that directed it, and I want to say they probably, even though I don't think any of them have a writing credit specifically, I
Mm-hmm.
gotta imagine they probably at least ad-libbed a little bit here and there because it just felt like the Andy Samberg Lonely Island comedy
Mm-hmm.
mixed in with all these different references and kind of making fun of Disney, which it didn't tame itself as much as I thought it would. Like it definitely went for the joke a lot of times. Sometimes it missed, but I think a lot of times it hit for me, especially just from, like I said, the goofy stuff. It reminded me a lot of like a Roger Rabbit, obviously, with all the different characters getting mixed in, but
Yes.
I don't think it ever became too much for me, which I thought it might get to eventually, but it wasn't too long and I wasn't. I definitely watched Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers as a kid when it came on like Toon Disney and stuff, but I was expecting to get like a 3 out of 5 just because that's most Disney for me. I usually don't, especially newer stuff. Like as a 26-year-old man, I don't really expect to love it as much, but I don't know. Everything from especially Andy Samberg and John Mulaney as Chip and Dale, I just thought it was hilarious. And the way they had one of them as a 3D and one of them as a 2D chipmunk, it was all just goofy and I loved it. So much
Mm-hmm.
smiles.
Yeah, as an animation enthusiast, I was very happy with the movie. Spoilers, minor spoilers for the movie, but Ugly Sonic like changed me. I will never be the same because
Yeah.
I was genuinely terrified, especially when he shows up the second time. He's like, a Snoopy here. And
Well,
it's like
the
terrifying.
thing I'm surprised about the most is that Paramount was like, yeah, go ahead, use Ugly Sonic, the thing we're so disappointed in.
They didn't. They it's different enough, and they only call him Ugly Sonic. And there's like bags in the eyes, got a gut on him, so it's different enough that it's fair. It's fair use.
That,
So
that
Paramount had no part.
that's even more beautiful than that Paramount didn't okay it.
No,
That makes it funnier.
I love the sense of humor that it has. You bring up how one's 3D and one's 2D animated. They're both 3D animated. I mean, the one's made to look 2D animated,
Well, yeah.
but it wasn't hand drawn, which is one thing
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed by. I don't think it's in the same stratosphere as Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which I think is an all-time classic. I wouldn't even put it up there with Space Jam, but it's right in that like Looney Tunes back in action kind of area for me. Definitely better than the new Space Jam. But I I was a decent fan. The plot is very run of the mill, but it's fun to watch and be like, hey, notice that. Oh, hey, look at that character. Oh my gosh, that people know that a character exists. That's crazy. And it's cute enough and fun enough. And yeah, I laugh every time that they stare at Sonic's teeth.
Yeah. I might move the rating eventually, but I don't know. Just everything. I think it mainly is just Andy Samberg in general. Just whatever he
Mm-hmm.
does, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, dude just cracks me up in whatever he does. So I think that's a lot of my
Mm.
rose-colored glasses there. But
It's a 4 for me. It's definitely a good movie. I really enjoyed it.
yeah,
It was on my top 10 for a while, but now obviously other things have surpassed it. But I was definitely a defender of it.
I can't imagine anyone really hating it unless they're just like, oh my God, I just don't want
It's just
nostalgia.
references.
Yeah, it's all just references, which it's an argument, it's a valid argument for sure, but I
It's a
think there's a
Disney
lot
Plus original movie about the Rescue Rangers. What do we really want? You know what I mean?
about
Like,
to
I'm just
say.
happy that it had something to say.
Yeah, and it's just fun. Like it's literally just the Rescue Rangers Chippendale in their own real world. Like it's the real world in Disney. What else are you really expecting from that concept?
Mhm.
I mean, that's they gave you exactly what they were planning on giving you, and I think it was done pretty well.
Mhm. Yeah, I'd rewatch Lightyear before I rewatch Chippendale, but definitely I'm
Yeah,
gonna rewatch both. They're both on Disney Plus. That's what the connection
yeah.
is.
I gotta watch
But
Lightyear still, especially now that's on Disney Plus.
I definitely recommend it. I'm higher on it than your average Joe. I kind of want to watch it again so that I can bump it down to a 4, but I'm still very happy with it. Did you have any other thoughts on Chippendale before I moved on? I didn't want to cut you off.
Nope, just I really loved it.
Very, very good. Definitely check it out on Disney Plus. It's on there for free. I wanted to bring up another streaming movie that's on another streaming service for free. Amazon Prime's movie about the rescue, the documentary, directed by Ron Howard, starring Viggo Mortensen, Joel Edgerton, and Colin Farrell. We have 13 Lives. This is a movie I was fortunate enough to see in a theater. And definitely was worth the experience because there, especially specifically a moment where all the sound goes out and you could hear a pin drop in that theater. It was absolutely fantastic. It's heart wrenching. It's, I don't know if you know a lot about the scenario that happened, but I knew nothing. So it was very new information for me. I was depressed. I was overjoyed. I was, it's just the complete experience. I was terrified because they're going through these caves underwater for like 7 hours. And it's these tight spaces and anything could go wrong, so and everything does go wrong obviously, and it's terrifying, but it's definitely a must see. I would love to champion this as an Oscar contender, awards contender in general, and as of right now I have it just ahead of Nope as my fifth favorite movie of the year. 5 out of 5 for me.
Hell
Did you
yeah.
have you heard about it?
I have heard about it. I think I saw the ad when I was because I have like an Amazon TV or whatever, and they had the ads at the beginning of it. And I think I saw it like right when I turned on the TV the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I heard of it literally until I saw the ad of it becoming a prime thing. I don't know anything about it other than I saw Viggo Mortensen was in it. I didn't even know Ron Howard was involved in it.
So you
So,
didn't see The Rescue last year? I think it's on Disney Plus. The documentary was nominated for some stuff.
mm-mm.
Okay, no, that's great because going into this blind, not knowing what happens, it's one of those faith in humanity movies. Like you watch it and you're just like, we're gonna be okay. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I don't want to spoil any. I mean, it's real life; it happened,
Yeah,
but they made a movie about it, so you can make your own connections about what you think. Probably just watch it. Is all I have to
I
say. But yeah,
yeah
you.
with that cast, I can't miss it.
Oh, Vigo
Especially
stands out. He's the best. I mean, I don't think he'll get a nomination just because he's like the main guy in the movie, but I don't think he gets enough time. It's more of an ensemble, and it's less about, hey, look how cool the performance is, and it's more about honestly the filmmaking techniques of just showing, because they show you a lot of them going through the cave, and it's absolutely insane. It's
yeah,
absolutely crazy that any of this even happened. Unprecedented shit. Definitely go check it out. You had another streaming movie you want to talk, because that's all I have about 13. Very good. Go check it out on Amazon Prime. Expected to hear a lot about it in 6 months.
the thing I actually saw. So I saw a few streaming movies that I've been trying to catch up on from like 22. Like I watched Kimmy on HBO Max the other day.
I needed to see that. Is that worth it?
Honestly, I gave it a 4 out of 5. It might be a little bit less. I don't know. It's very interesting. It's literally
Mhm.
like Zoe Kravitz is like agoraphobic and has like trauma from past issues. And she's a tech support person and she hears on this little like almost like an Amazon like Echo type thing where it's like listening to you.
Mhm.
And she hears someone like basically getting like hurt or assaulted or whatever. And she basically is trying to help them, but also because she can't leave to get them help, it's kind of like a crazy thriller that way
Mhm.
and to figure out what's going on and shit. So it's very interesting. I really enjoyed it, but that I
The
watched.
runtime scared me a little bit, but Zoe Kravitz is hot lately because Batman. So
Well, and she's just hot
especially
in
if you
general,
recommend
yeah.
it, then especially with your recommendation, I'm sure I'll catch it before the end of the year.
But yes, I liked that. I watched Deep Water on Hulu with Ben Affleck. I finally watched that.
Yes,
That
yes.
that movie was insane, but I enjoyed the fuck out of it.
Hmm.
It's so stupid, and the characters are all just the worst people you could ever imagine.
Hmm. Wasn't it
But
snails? It was snails, right?
yeah, it's the
Hmm.
snails. Oh my god, it's so goofy, but I'll be damned if I wasn't like literally laughing and just having the most fun watching it. So that one was great. And today I actually went and saw a new movie with Rebecca Hall and Tim Roth called Resurrection.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say the Night House.
No,
But
Night
yeah, I
House
haven't heard of
was
this.
last year,
Yeah,
which she was also fantastic in. But
yeah.
this one, it's kind of, I don't want to go into it too deep just because I'd rather you see it if you can. There literally only like two show times at my theater anymore. It
Hmm.
was like I think it was a Sundance movie,
Hmm.
but it's literally just the story of a lady who, kind of similar to how I was saying with the past trauma stuff in the other movie, she also has some shit, and it's left very ambiguous and kind of mysterious for a while. Like she's kind of, something happened to her, but you don't know what.
Hmm.
And she has like a daughter now, and then Tim Roth just appears out of nowhere, and she starts freaking out, and it just gets crazier and crazier from there. And honestly, it kind of starts off as being just kind of your run of the mill thriller drama type thing,
Hmm.
but it does dip its toes hardcore into, like, not hardcore, but it dips its toes into horror sometimes that you're not really expecting from the
Hmm.
tone it's giving you. And it's like, oh shit, okay. Like there
Hmm.
was an older woman, like there were three people in the theater total today. Myself, a guy sitting like 4 seats away from me, and an older woman sitting in front of me.
Hmm.
When the movie ended, the older woman stood up, made eye contact with me, and said, "That was crazy, huh?" And I just almost started dying laughing. I was like, "Yep." I was like, "It sure was."
Hmm.
And
Um,
it's the perfect review, honestly, from her. It was just, that was strange because it
mhm.
was definitely the most bizarre thing when it came to. It literally just felt like a run-of-the-mill thriller, and then all of a sudden, just like took the huge left turn. But I liked the left turn, and I don't think she did. So I
Mhm.
gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I think it's interesting, and I think people should check it out, regardless of the turn.
Mhm. It's not playing in my theater right now, but if it comes out on streaming, I'm sure I'll check it out. One movie I did want to briefly bring up that I watched the other day was, well, you talked about Nomadland earlier with Chloe Zhao, a movie called A Love Song. Very cute, just an old lady is expecting an old guy from her past, and it's a
Okay.
cute little love story, but a
I,
lot of Nomadland vibes.
I saw the trailer for that one. I'm actually pretty interested in it just from, it just looked kind of cute. It was just
Hmm.
because it's the lady sitting in her van or whatever, and it's like the little boy that she met in like a trip or whatever, like a class trip or whatever.
Yeah, but now and
And they
they're
met
like
like 30 years
reuniting,
later.
and it's really cute movie. I want to bring that up. Speaking of cute, Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. I'm sure it doesn't have much longer in theaters, but very adorable Paddington esque type movie.
I watched that as well. And yeah, I think I gave it like a 3.5. I almost gave it a 4
And I give it
just
a four.
because it was really just a beautiful story of just a widow that finally decided it was her time to live her life again. And it was very beautiful. The use of colors in the movie when they're in the dress shops and everything, and even when they're just outside, it's so vibrant. And I said it kind of reminded me of like Grand Budapest at times of just how bright it got. And
Mhm.
it was just a nice movie.
I'm still trying to figure out what her financial situation is because
Yeah.
her husband dies, so she gets the pension money, but she has to give out money from the pay that he earned while he was dead. She wins the lottery, but she loses money on the horses. And she's paying for the dress. She also has to pay for the flight. She's writing stuff down in her notebook. I don't know what any of it means. My review was way too sexy, and I just thought that would be a funny thing if someone came out of that movie and that was their problem. Same thing with briefly wanted to bring up Crawdads, where the Crawdads sing. I came out of that being like, they didn't say anything about Crawdads in the movie. But I enjoyed that. I had a good time. What were your quick thoughts on that?
It was fine. I didn't like you said, you didn't know much about it going in. I didn't know shit about Crawdad movie. My mom had read the book and
Crawdad movie.
I took her to go see it. And I'm honestly more interested in just reading the book now just to see how similar the story is because I mean, fuck it, spoilers. The girl fucking murders that dude.
So funny when she started saying like a predator must kill its prey. I actually had to cover my mouth because I was in a crowded theater and I'm the only one who found the humor in that.
Oh, I was laughing. Like I laughed to my mom afterward, but I was like, it was so obvious that she fucking murdered that guy. I was like, and somehow she fucking convinced everybody in that fucking town that she was so innocent. It was so obvious. It was a
Oh no, it
it was
got
a
me. I wasn't even thinking about it.
it was a justified because that guy was a fucking monster. But
Well, I love just from her husband's perspective, just like, what do I do now? Like you burn the thing, but
yeah,
like I don't know. I feel like it would make me feel a certain way knowing that my wife killed somebody. I don't care if it's justified. She's still taking a
oh,
human life. That's like a big
100%.
deal. So it probably gives you some shit, but
Definitely have to keep that one in the back pocket, even though she is gone. Just I'm not gonna
Mhm.
totally forget about that one.
Yeah, like the Taylor Swift song.
hmm
The movie
I
kind of
don't.
lost me right around like the oh we can't have sex. I care about you too much. I was like this is just Twilight.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was fun enough. I think
I
the
was
rest of the
3 out of
theater that
5.
I was in, yeah, I think I gave it a 3.5.
Mhm.
It was fine. I think the rest of the theater that I was in enjoyed it much more than me, and people were talking about the book. I could hear the chatter going on behind me, but I honestly plan on reading the book. I tried to get it on my library app, and it's like completely like it's like a digital library, and they only have so many copies. It's literally like an in-person type thing where you have to wait. I'm in
Mhm.
line, and I've been waiting for like over a month to read it. And at this point, I'm not even. I'm like at the time I get it, I probably won't even be interested anymore. But
Mhm.
I'm still gonna try. I'll
Mhm.
let you know if the book is as good as the movie.
Yeah, I had a friend who told me about some of the differences, and the book's probably better. But then again, you have to read. Um,
I've been reading
I
hella shit lately. Sorry to just bust in there, but
no, you're good. You're good. I should read more. I recently got some books, so I might like Dune and Dune Messiah. And I Killers of the Flower Moon. I got that, so I'm interested in the Martin Scorsese movie. One more movie, I because I know we're running on time. You wanted to talk about Fresh, which was one of my favorite movies of the year for a while.
yes, Fresh was, for lack of a better word, a very fresh movie in the horror genre. It was
Mhm.
very cool, especially to see Sebastian Stan in this kind of role. It was very because okay, we can actually connect it right in because the same girl from Crawdads is the star of Fresh.
Daisy Edgar Jones, yes.
So, funnily enough, that was very interesting. Like I kind of knew the concept going in just because I've heard a little bit of the chatter, but when it starts off, it is completely a romantic comedy through and through. And
Mhm.
if you don't know what you turned on, it's gonna hit you real hard because it's not really a spoiler, but we'll just say spoiler just in case. That title card, when it drops like 20 minutes into the movie,
Mhm.
is by far one of the best title drops like in like recent memory for any movie.
See, that's how I felt about the cut to credits because the
Yeah,
text message
that
that
too.
sent me.
The editing in general was fantastic, but
Mhm.
the way they just dropped in because like, oh shit is starting, and that's when they dropped the opening credit. Like whoever came up with the ideas and planned all this out, kudos to you. You are a brilliant person. The
Mhm.
writing is hilarious. Like I said, Sebastian Stan. He is, you can compare it to like kind of like a Christian Bale in American Psycho, but I
Mhm.
almost feel he's more charming. You honestly, like, there are moments where you genuinely feel like he is a nice guy.
Mhm.
Patrick Bateman in American Psycho is never a nice guy. He's just a
Mhm.
dick the entire time.
Mhm.
Sebastian Stan, even though he's doing the most horrific things, literally eating people, and but at the same time, he's doing it so nicely. He has pictures of them and talking about them while he's eating them.
Mhm.
It's so weird, but so great. It's just, yeah, it's a very fun but very strange movie.
I'm a 4 out of 5. It would be a 5. It was his karma moment was too like dumb for me. You got to see that coming, my guy.
Yeah.
And also just it's another kidnap movie. I mean, I enjoy the dating stuff, but 4 out of 5. Final thoughts.
I think I gave it around like a 4 out of 5. And yeah, I agree with that.
Mhm.
It's very much kind of just commenting on modern dating, but still very fun and a modern take in horror that is pretty cool.
Definitely worth checking out. Well, I appreciate you guys so much for listening to us talk about movies today. And I go check out my hard reviews. I've done some recently. Elvis, I was drunk, and that was a whole lot of fun. You saw the voicemail that I sent. Check out my YouTube. Check out our letterboxd. And Steve, go ahead.
Film fan reviews on YouTube, got shorts reviews on there I'm putting up now. I put one up for Resurrection today and have one coming out for DC Super Pets and all that different stuff coming out very, very soon. So keep an eye on that channel. And thank you so much for listening, guys. And we will see you next time where we talk about what movie? I have no idea. What's coming out soon?
Oh, God, if anything comes out in August.